and we are live. Hello. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
Yes.
We are behind live, like we are really live.
We are super live, super alive.
Exactly. And we are ready. I'm getting like really ready now.
Ooh, you're rolling up your sleeves. That's important. All good conversations need to have a little bit of sleeve rolling up. So,
exactly. That's how they start. That's what makes a good conversation.
Hold on.
Exactly.
All right. So can we dive right in, or do you need to say something first? Because I'd like to dive right in.
You can dive in.
Ooh, good. So earlier we were talking a bit about relationships, and you mentioned this word. It's a very interesting phrase. You said there are relationship destroyers. Like a relationship starts out good, and then it starts to fall apart or turn into a disaster. So relationship destroyers, what is this?
Okay, so for a relationship, if you take two people and you put them together, without any external influences, the relationship will grow and grow and grow, and they will be created. Okay? But the moment that you start to get more viewpoints involved, most of the viewpoint will be actually good for the relationship, but some of the viewpoint will destroy the relationship. And those viewpoints are relationship destroyers. There are quite few of those, and today we'll talk maybe about one or two. Okay.
Okay. Sounds.
Yeah. So let's take the first one. I think the one that I like the most is this thing. This thing that I call the retroactive snake.
The retroactive snake. That is very, very dramatic.
Yeah, it is dramatic. So I'll explain to you what do I mean. So you have this guy that he's, let's say, working for you or your friend or your business partner, and you have a relationship with him, and everything seems very good. And there's ups and downs in relationship, but generally things are going and moving. And for a few years, you are somehow pushing together, and things are going well. And then, for a very specific reason, he or she decide to stop the relationship. And at that moment, you find out that all this time they were actually with you for one reason and one reason alone. Not for children, not for love, not for sex, not for anything. For one reason alone. Not for money even.
I'm so
one reason. And that reason was to collect everything wrong that you've done. But it became wrong only after they left. So when they left, when it's time to leave, they start to bite you like a snake, but retroactively. About 20 years ago, you've done that. 15 years ago, you've done that. 2 years ago, you've done that. When we met, you said that. And they have this accumulation of books and books and books and books of all the wrong things you've done. And they using those books to tell you how wrong you are, but during the relationship, they never said a word.
Okay.
Now,
how does that even happen? Like I'm exhausted just thinking about having to accumulate that much stuff.
Yeah, but it happens. How does it happen? When a person actually did something bad to you, he will want to leave the relationship. But he did something bad that he doesn't see as bad because it's really justified. He has a lot of justification why he left. So now, in order to explain why he did these bad things for you and decided to leave, he must have some explanation how you are wrong, how you are wrong, how you are wrong, how you are wrong, how you are wrong. And when he has enough things that he claimed that you are wrong about, he now feel better, he hope. And he now feel that it's okay that he left you. So when a person leave a relationship and he act as a retroactive snake, he blame you of things that happened long ago, things that happened months ago, weeks ago, not on the spot. When something happened and the guy don't have the courage to come and tell you, this is what I'm unhappy about, but he collect this thing and come to you years after, or months after, or weeks after, what you know, this guy did something really bad to you, and you should ignore everything he says, because everything he says have nothing corrected. Because when you come after the fact, the basic idea is he has his viewpoint, and anything that you will use, he will not accept. And because he has, it's not logical at all, you're fighting against something that's not logical, and the other person will win always because he's been trained for years in being not logical, and you're just starting. You are an amateur in the subject.
So I know that you've done a lot of relationship coaching. Can you talk about a few examples of this? Because like I love the theory, but it can be a little bit intangible. Can you say, okay, so here's a situation, you know, no one that any of us know, but give some, can you give like
So there was this couple that came to me, and they have 2 kids, lovely, amazing family, unbelievable kids, very successful, one of them doing very well at school, one of them doing very well in businesses, older, and they sit in front of me, and the husband was doing very well. He's a businessman and he's doing quite well, like, you know, he's not super rich, but he's very rich. But he's rich. He's not very rich, but he's rich. And the wife was raising the kids, and the husband was doing his job, and they're sitting down, and the wife opened the book of the snake.
Oh.
And she started to explain to me why this guy was bad, and he was bad, and he was bad. And when at the birthday, when our child was 3 years old, you were doing that, and complains and complains and complains and complains. And the common denominator is it's about the past. And so I've asked the husband, so what's going on? He said, I have no idea what she's talking about. I said, what do you mean, you have not been there? And he said, no, I've been there, and probably it's right, but I don't have all the data. It's happened long ago. Who is, I didn't even take notice. For me, everything was good. Look at the results. But the wife said, no, this is, and and she had many things that the husband did wrong. And I was sitting with her and with him, and I was getting them to look at and getting to an agreement that anything that is older than 2-3 days is not valid as a complaint.
Uh-oh.
We got an agreement that anything that is more than 2-3 days old, when the data is known, I'm not talking about when someone's hiding something. When the data is in front of you, if you didn't play the move that you had on the chessboard and you've done another 50 moves, you cannot go back and say, well, I want to make a move because I could have made a move, or it was, no, even if the move was wrong, you cannot go backward.
Okay.
And that's need to be an agreement in a relationship, all relationships. You want a good relationship, there need to be an agreement that says, look, you cannot complain about the past. You have a problem, complain about it now, we'll handle it now. But about the past, no one can reconstruct all the factors and the viewpoint at that time. So she told me, well, at the age of 3, there was a birthday and he didn't come to the birthday. We don't have all the data. Maybe he had some, I don't know, life-threatening situation at that moment. Maybe he had this. No one have the data. And more importantly, who cares? Look at the result. Who cares? Look at the result. And the only reason the wife, in that case, she was really wrong, and it was really obvious, because the wife had all kind of excuses for why she did not handle it at that time. And it's always an excuse, because at that time, if there's something uncomfortable, handle it. Don't live with that for years, because by living with that, you actually supporting it.
Interesting.
You actually supporting it by not saying anything, even if it's wrong, even if it's really wrong, you're supporting it. You agreeing with that by being quiet. And there's many situations in life, not only in a relationship, when you see something wrong, and the question is, should I say something? If you don't say something, you actually supporting it. You have to communicate. You have to give your viewpoint. Otherwise, you actually condoning it. You're actually agreeing with that. Yes, you're not fighting it. You're not saying it's not okay.
I understand, but I think that so many people have had bad results speaking up that oftentimes they don't know how really to communicate, to say, hey, I see something, I don't know if this is right or that it's healthy, and do you have tips for how to kind of get your voice out without ending up in a fight every time?
Yeah, you need to be willing to get the communication back, or the motion that will be created, because it's better to get into a fight for 1 hour or 2 hours or a day or a week than to live 20 years with something like that. And the key is, you need to understand that you need to agree. This need to be an agreement between couples, in a relationship, in a business relationship, in a friendship. You cannot go back and argue about the past. There's a problem, handle it now, or forever shut your mouth.
Yeah, and I think that is really hard for people. I know that I hear a lot of couples, and when they just talk about what the other person did wrong, and they're bad, and it's like, well, geez, when I hear this, I'm wondering why you're even with the guy. If you know. Like,
the person that complained is the person that did something bad.
I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people to confront, because they feel very justified. He lied, he cheated, he la.
It doesn't mean that the other side is not wrong, but the other side can be wrong until tomorrow. For as long as you did not do wrong, you will handle it, not complain. Complainers are people that did something wrong that prevents them from handling the wrong of others. Because if your hands are clean, you will handle it. You will be able to handle what comes your way. And the hands are not clean can be even in the level of, it's what he's doing is not okay, but I didn't say anything for a year. That's already makes you really, because you committed the sin against yourself.
That's a fascinating viewpoint. Sin against yourself. Can you talk a bit more about what this is? I think this is one that most people don't even realize is a sin.
Well, the only sin that you can do is actually against yourself. I cannot hurt you.
I know.
And you cannot hurt me, because the only way to hurt someone is for someone to agree to be there. If I'm not agreeing to be there, you cannot hurt me. So if I agree to be there, I made the initial decision to be there. Now, what coming from you, I always have something to do with, because I agree to be there, and that's why You hurt me and not someone else that's not there. So before you actually take the viewpoint of anything that happened to me is me, you will be, in effect, your life will be terrible, but you will have a lot of explanations. So when you use excuses, you get excuse and you give up results. If you want results, you need to understand that results do not go up together with excuses. Result is the opposite of excuses, and excuses is the opposite of result. If you want excuses, don't expect result. If you want results, you are not allowed to come up with excuses. And you will see that successful people don't excuse, they make things go right. Successful people don't explain why they failed, they make themselves successful. Successful people don't cry, they go and fix things. And that's the difference. If you want to be successful, you need to, people tell you for a long time, in order to be successful, you need to be willing to do the work. And the work is not so much physical work, because most people, their hard work is moving the fingers on the keyboard, That's their work. There's not so much hard work in this universe, in this time. Most of the people, they don't do really picking up stones or working hard with their body. There's no hard work. The hard work is to actually being willing to say it's me. And not like the one thing that you will not do if you want to be successful is explain why you failed. Never use an excuse, regardless of how right you think it is, because the moment that you start to explain, you bring on yourself failure. So you need to decide, do you want to be successful and maybe feel wrong, or do you want to be right but a failure? That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off in life. It's not easy, but if you look at any successful person, they look at situations and they make it go right. You look at failures and they have the book of excuses.
Yeah,
they explain. It's my mother, it's my childhood, it's the way that I was raised. Something happened to me when I was 3 years old, and every time you talk to that person, he talks to you about what happened to him when he was 3 years old. Okay, we got it, we understand. Next. 30 years later, hello, you're 40 years now. 37 years later, you're still talking about it? Next.
So you feel that this viewpoint also pertains to relationships, because I hear a lot of people repeating, well, a relationship is 50% me, 50% them, and it just depends on the other side. Would you say that this applies as well here? So that's not...
Relationship is 100% me and 100% you. How do I know that? When I meet a lady, and let's say I want a relationship with her, she can do anything and it will look cute to me. It's not a problem. She cannot destroy it because I want her. But later on, when I did enough bad things against her, against myself, and I blamed her, then I find fault and I find fault and I find fault and And you know what? I don't even care if someone finds fault. You find fault, communicate. So the other person will at least be in a fair trial, because otherwise the trial, you are the accuser, you are the judge, you are the everything, and the other person don't even know that he's in trial. He find that he was in trial when you about to leave him, or when you left him, he found that he was in trial for 30 years. Nonsense, yes?
Wow. So fault finding. Can you describe that just a little bit? What do you mean by fault finding?
I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you breathe. I don't like the way you cook. I don't like the way you look. I don't like your mom. I don't like your father. I don't like your friends. I don't like. Any I don't like is just saying What I don't like mean? I don't like mean I did something bad and I need to find something wrong with you so I will not feel so bad. I don't like mean I did something bad and I have to find faults with you, something I don't like with you, so I will not feel so bad. Because if I did something bad, I'm wrong. This is me, I'm wrong. And when I find fault with you, the more fault you have, the less wrong I am. Because what is fault? What does it mean wrong? Wrong is in relationship to right. So if I make you wrong, then I become right automatically, and wonderful. Life is beautiful, no problem.
I think that there's something kind of hidden here, because I think a lot of people think if they're finding fault with their spouse or their partner, that they think of something wrong, like they cheated or they lie. But there's other things that can make them, like other more subtle things they might not think of as doing something wrong. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Something wrong is anything that you wouldn't want someone else to do to you. Talking badly about you, not telling you all the truth, spending money behind your back, above your back, behind your ears, whatever. Not doing things that you said that you would do. Any kind of things that you wouldn't want someone else to do to you.
So how can you find that?
How? When you find fault with someone, you need to know you've done something bad. There's no question about it. It's not maybe, it's not sometimes, it's not 50% of the time, not 99% of the time, not 1% of the time. Always. It is more accurate than gravity. You start to find fault with someone, you did something wrong with him. Next, no question.
So how do you find what you've done wrong? What if you can't see it?
That's very good. So how do you find what you've done wrong is actually a subject of a whole piece of knowledge that you need to learn. And of course, in these 20 minutes, we will not teach that. But overall, the moment that you realize the principle that you finding fault is actually you've done something wrong, if you will actually realize that the principle is correct, you will know. You will know. And the automatic mechanism will be you will try to justify it. What does it mean to justify it? Justify it is a mechanism that allow you to live with yourself while knowing that you've done something really bad. It's a mechanism. It's a kind of a sugar that you put on yourself to hide the bad things that you've done. Yes, you sweeten the bad things. You put sugar. You put some honey on top in order to hide what's actually happening with the bad taste that you have. So you don't like coffee, it's bitter, you put sugar to hide the bitterness. You don't like the sin that you committed, you use justification, you use you finding faults with someone, and then you explain to yourself, you justify why it is not so bad, why he deserved this. That justification is the sugar.
Not so delicious.
Because the sugar is short-lived, because the bitterness is still there. You know that it's you, and because the bitterness is still there, you need more and more and more sugar. And that's why you find more and more. You explain all the time what she did to you, what she did to you, what she did to you, what she did to you. And the more you explain, the more it is. The only reason you explain something is because it's wrong. If it's not wrong when it's right, you don't need to explain. The result shows everything. You get the idea?
The retroactive snake. That's so dramatic. I love it. I think this was fantastic. So what do you have coming up where people can tune in and hear a little bit more about some of your snakes? about all the different kinds of snakes.
So the next thing we're doing is on, I have two things. So first of all, every Tuesday I'm doing Corona in Cash. This is a paid class. And basically I'm teaching how to handle or how to make the coronavirus the best thing that ever happened to you in life. Because I think that for businessmen, Corona is like, it comes from God. It's so good. Why? Everyone feel that it's so bad. So businessmen that don't feel it's so bad, businessmen that actually can look and understand that this is the biggest opportunity of their life. They can make more money. They can learn more things. They can be more successful, and they can become like 10, 100 times more than what they used to be, if they know what to do. And that's what I teach in the Corona and Cash. And then I have the series of webinars that I'm doing with you, which is the
secret
Yoga Sutra. Yeah, the secret path to you. We're calling it the secret path to you, the lost art of the Yoga Sutras. So the Yoga Sutras is basically axioms about life, or they're supposed to be the blueprint of how this universe has been constructed. And over the years, they deteriorated, destroyed, changed, and so on. So the results that people get from yoga is very far from what the result should have been. If you look at what yoga promised and what it delivered, there is a big gap. So you should know that anything that take longer time than the expected time, it contains a lie. Yeah. So the lies are that the actual principles are not known. And I know it's shocking, it's almost impossible, but I didn't find one person that doing yoga or any other practice that when they come to my seminars actually know what's the basic principles of life are. They say they know, until you actually put them into explaining it, not saying it, explaining it. Because how do you know that someone knows? He can explain it to a 6 years old, and if he cannot, he needs to be brave enough and say, you know what, I don't know. And when you know that you don't know, you started to improve.
Yeah, so last week it was really amazing. You covered a lot of amazing content, and I heard from the yoga community that they found it very valuable, and they had a lot of clarity. Yeah, and they wrote to me like, this is what I learned. It was very actionable, very precise, very clear things. It wasn't like, well, I feel just a little bit better, but I don't know what happened. They had some major realizations, because there's something very much missing. Like people that are practicing yoga, they get like a little bit better, like more flexible, but this is like the smallest droplet of what's available. So I am so excited about this project, and looking forward to Sunday. It's kind of like church in the afternoon.
Yes. So what we're teaching is really the secrets of life. It's free, totally free, but it's not easy. So the webinars are free, but if you come, you need to know that you need to work. If you come just to listen, you will not get anything out of it, and you will say, well, someone was speaking and whatever. If you come to those webinars, you need to get ready to work. You need to be involved. It's interactive. I'm asking questions. You need to answer. You need to look. You need to be able to, or you need to agree to change some furnitures in your head to realize that in order to improve, you need to get rid of some things that you have and gain some new things. And what you get rid of is things that are not yours, and what you gain is not my things, what I tell you, but what you decide, what you conclude, what you find out. So the way that I teach is not by giving you data, and I think that I'm teaching in a very, I haven't seen actually anyone that teach like me. I teach not in a way that I give you data, but I teach in a way that I delete data and you come up with the true data. Not because I told you so, but because it's true for you. And even if I told you what it is, before you make it yours, before you realize, yes, that's what I always knew, you actually will not improve.
So it's a spiritual cleaning out your closet.
Yeah, it's actually something, think about it, taking yourself, the spirit, and putting it in bleach. So you're removing all the dirt or black spots, and you're coming up so clear so you can actually see. Because those black spots made you the spirit that knows everything act stupidly.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we covered one relationship destroyer today. How many are there?
There are quite a few.
How can
18.
18. When are you going to explain these?
Well, we will do probably sooner or later another relationship seminar. I have a very famous relationship seminar that basically get you to fix any relationship and teach you how to create the perfect relationship. And people that went through those seminars never get divorced, never fight any after that. Like the relationship are ideal. It's actually the way to create ideal relationship. And the side effect is that you will see that you will not be successful in business before your relationship has been fixed. It's quite fascinating, but the way that you improve in life, you first improve your mind. So your possession is your mind. Then you improve your relationships, and then you actually can have a business. And you will see that every time you had problem with business, the actual problem was relationship. Every time you lost money, the actual problem was relationship. Relationship drive business. So every time your business is not going well, something is going wrong with relationships.
Wow.
So this is a very practical money creating machine. There's a study that has been done. It's the longest going study in history. And actually, in that study, there was one U.S. president, and these people from all walks of life. And what they found is in this study that the only thing that defines how healthy you will be and how wealthy you will be is the quality of your relationships. So if you want to be wealthy, you need to understand and improve your relationship to such a degree that they're amazing. And that's why my students, when they fix the relationships, the side effect is they get a lot of money. They just, the business improve. So relationship is something really powerful, but that's the subject of another thing. What we're doing right now, we first of all fixing your mind. And that's what we're doing in the Yoga Sutras, because I cannot fix relationships before you can fix your mind. Because you can learn all the principles of relationship, but if your mind is messed up and is telling you to do messed up things, the fact that you know about relationship, it will help, but it will not actually fix the problem.
Very good.
So what I suggest is join the webinar. It's on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find the link on the screen right now if you are on YouTube or Facebook, and if you are on Instagram, it's in my bio. And if you really like to type, it's www.Meir Ezra, which is meirezra.com/yoga, all lowercase. So meirezra.com/yoga. And if you have any questions, and if you want to get more data, or if you have an immediate problem that you want to solve right now and you need some help, follow me on Instagram, Meir Ezra Official, Meir Ezra Official. Follow me on Instagram, send me a message. I always answer. I always give advice, and the advice will not be probably what something that I like. My advice most of the time is not something that you like, but it works. 100% work. I guarantee it will work, but I almost always guarantee that you will not like it initially. You will like the result. You will not like the advice.
I can attest to that. Well, amazing. I'm super excited for Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. MeirEzra.com/yoga. I will be there for sure. And gosh, I have a million more questions. So, but we'll have to do another one next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that's watching. I generally don't look at the comments. I look at the comments after the session, because I want to be with the person that interviewing me. So I give 100% correct, or I'm not worried about correct, but more 100% answers with intention. So you will get my intention more than you get my words, because a person communicates by intentions, not by word. The intention is what you get, not the words. And that's why I don't look at anything. I'm 100% with you. And later on, I look at the questions. So if you have questions for me for the next interview, I do every day at 10 p.m., every weekday. I do an interview at 10 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. and then 10:30 p.m. until 11. And it's more or less, sometimes it's before, a little bit after, because the interview ran a bit longer. But I do those interviews, and if you want to ask me any questions and you want me to answer them in the interview, private message me or private message to Rae, and we will answer it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Monica, Sophie. So nice to see you. Anton, hello, hello. And I see some people that the name is in Arabic, so I cannot read Arabic. I'm sorry. I can speak a little bit. I can speak Moroccan, and I understand Moroccan, but I cannot read. I see Connie, and I see Pedro, and who else? Anastasia, Swapna, Susan. Hi, Susan, and Avi Budara Alan, and Gustavo. Very nice seeing everyone. Thank you for joining, and I will be. Who is my next interview? Do you know?
I think Alexandra.
Alexandra. Oh, you want to be in that interview. Okay. Thank you, Rae. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. And thank you for Amit and Swapna for doing everything in the background. And thank you for Shamaya that organizing the whole push. And thank you for Gali for helping me on everything that's going on. And thank you for everyone that joined and comment and like. And please, 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 last thing, share this interview. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.